Hey guys, what's up? Today I'll be ranking the Persona main series from worst to best. That means no spin-offs this time, only the main titles in the series. Alright, let's begin!
Number 5. Persona. Revelations Persona came out back in 1996 for the PS1 as a spin-off to the Megami Tensei series. It was then ported to PC in 1999, but I never played that version. The ones I played were the original and its remake on the PSP, released in 2009. I really disliked the original version as I found it really tedious, repetitive and uninspiring. Several years later, I gave the remake a chance, and the time I spent playing it was actually enjoyable. It just plays smoother, with mechanics that feel less frustrating. Navigation is still done in first person, that's a bummer for me, but I didn't mind it that much in this version, unlike in the original. I also felt the encounter rate more balanced and the battles more fluid. Persona 1 is still about high school characters and their connection with these demons. But there's no social links or actual school sim elements like in future entries. I'm still not a fan of either version of this game, but I'm glad I could experience the origins of such an important and popular franchise. Number 4. Persona 2 Eternal Punishment and Innocent Sin. So, everyone knows already the story behind these twin games. Back in the year 2000, we only got Eternal Punishment on the PS1. 12 years later, both of them were remade for the PSP, but now we only got Innocent Sin. Huh, I guess Atlus said, what's the point of localizing the other? They already have it on the PS1! Either way, I played both of them on the PlayStation, Innocent Sin with a fan translation patch, and I really liked them. Then I played Innocent Sin on the PSP and liked it even more. Sure, I found some dungeons and missions way too frustrating and tedious for my taste, but the amazing story, so dark, funny and sinister at the same time, more adult-oriented than anything, made the experience worthwhile. I know they're both separate games and each should have their own place here, but in reality they're just a big game cut in half, told from the perspective of each of the two main characters. You play as Maya in Eternal Punishment and as Tatsuya in Innocent Sin, both compelling in storytelling and with friendlier gameplay mechanics than the original Persona. Again, there's no social link or high school simulation here, but there's the classic Megami Tensei battle system, fighting demons and recruiting them. But now as personas to summon. Both titles are equally amazing and I honestly can't decide which one I like the most. Number 3. Persona 4. This game, initially released on the PS2 and then ported to the PS Vita as Persona 4 Golden, is probably the most popular of the bunch. I've always had really mixed feelings about the story and the main cast of characters, since I felt the developers leaned this game towards a different market where I just don't fit. It was more cheesy, more colorful, and more influenced by the J-pop culture. Nevertheless, the story and character development were truly strong, enough to lure me out of my comfort zone. I still love the overly addictive gameplay mechanics, not only the student simulation but also the bonding elements with all types of characters. The battle system was fluid, fun and engaging. This time, you could choose the actions of every one of your party members, unlike in Persona 3, but we'll get to that later. It was a fresh idea taken from the original games, fleshed out into a much more alluring turn-based system. It's no wonder why this game has so many fans, as it is really open to a broader audience with the development and marketing done right. Number 2. Persona 5. I am so glad I kept my expectations to a minimum before I played this game, since I was still a little edgy on how Atlus had treated Persona 4. As I mentioned, it was created for a different audience than mine. All 5 games are full of funny and cheesy stuff classic from JRPGs, especially the ones revolving around high school students. However, Persona 3 have been darker and rather mysterious, whereas Persona 4 have been colorful and stylish. But if we take the word stylish to a whole new level and mix both perspectives from those 2 games, we then get Persona 5. At least that's how I felt it. The game far surpassed my expectations and I fell in love with it almost immediately. It took everything from its predecessors and took it to perfection. It also became one of the longest RPGs ever made in terms of story. It took me 75 hours to complete, while in the other 2 games it was less than 50. I really like the plot here, the cast of characters, well, some of them, and the overall idea revolving around our modern society. The dungeons were freaking amazing and the exploration was done smoothly, with some stealth mechanics. Battle system had a different layout this time, with your characters not surrounding your enemies like in its 2 predecessors. Now it followed a more classic style for a turn-based RPG. I love that too. So in the end, Persona 5 was great and it was a fantastic return to the newly born idea that became its own series. Number 1. Persona 3. Persona 3 was the first game in the series that changed a big part of the gameplay mechanics probably forever. It literally went into a different direction than its predecessors to finally create its own franchise. While the first 2 games played more like a classic Shin Megami Tensei title, Persona 3 fell way apart from that, even though it still retained heavy elements from it. I fell in love with the dark concept behind this game and the strong criticism against society back then in 2006, actually still very similar to modern one. It did so in a very twisted way that involved people having an apathy syndrome and the main characters shooting themselves in their heads to summon their demons. The main dungeon was designed to resemble something sinister and horrible, and I just love that. Battles were turn-based now with your character surrounding their enemies. However, you could only choose the actions of the protagonist while everybody else acted on their own. It lost a little sense of strategy and gamers complain about that, but I don't know, I found that idea to be simply fantastic. Story and character development were amazingly written, with some really interesting plot twists here and there. This game also introduced the high school simulation and it turned it into a trending by being the first of its kind to be so popular. All in all, I love this game, especially the FES version where you can continue the story in a sequel called The Answer. Here you control Aigis and delve into a heavy dungeon crawler, but without the simulation mechanics. And since I loved Aigis so much, you can only imagine how much I love this sequel. To me, this version of the game is a masterpiece and obviously my favorite Persona ever created.
Alright guys, that's it. That was my ranking. Don't forget it's my personal opinion. So now all that is left is for you to rank this amazing series in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends. See you next time!